Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Vision, Culture, and Policy. My name is Sab Al-Khamis, and I'll be your host for this podcast series. In this episode, we'll be exploring fashion in Saudi Arabia, as fashion is a mesmerizing tapestry interwoven with the threads of culture, weaving together the intricate nuances of society, heritage, and expression. It stands as a radiant mirror, reflecting the values, aspirations, and collective spirits of a civilization. Like a skilled artisan crafting a masterpiece, individuals mold fashion to convey their essence and uniqueness, adorning themselves in garments that speak volumes without uttering a word. This timelessness interplay between individual identity and cultural expression is vividly captured in the evolution of attire throughout history. In the historical context of Saudi Arabia, cultural fashion differed greatly from our today's wedding dresses, evening gowns, and everyday attire. As Plato once said, necessity is the mother of invention. Before the advent of sewing machines and the era of globalization, the women of the kingdom relied on traditional techniques to carve out unique identities for themselves. By adapting ancient stitching methods once used for joining animal skins, they discovered innovative ways to incorporate ornamentation and embellishments into their garments. Through intricate embroidery and embellishments, they skillfully conveyed the rich stories and distinctive narratives of their tribes and regions. Utilizing natural dyes derived from fruits, vegetables, and animal skins, they created a vibrant array of colors, infusing their attire with a variety of hues reminiscent of their heritage. The convergence of caravan trails from India, Africa, and the Levant enriched Saudi Arabia's fashion scene with a diverse array of garments, patterns, and fabrics. Broadening our spectrums of sartorial options, this cultural fusion facilitated the infusion of diverse elements, such as polka dots referred to as Rash al-Matar by Saudi women at the time, a term directly translated to rainfall. Alongside intricately embellished fabrics sourced from India, these additions injected a newfound vibrancy and diversity into the fashion scene of Saudi Arabia. With the arrival of novel fabrics and threads, Saudi fashion experienced a renaissance, blossoming into a realm where every occasion was met with a tailored piece, and each region boasts its unique stylistic flair. This era of flourishing creativity not only reflected the nation's openness to external influences, but also underscored its ability to weave these global inspirations into a tapestry of tradition and innovation, establishing a distinctly enchanting fashion landscape and a sense of style birthed out of traditional silhouettes infused with the new garments coming from the east and the west of the old world. The Saudi people exhibit a dynamic relationship with fashion, blending traditional attire with modern influences in a vibrant and culturally rich tapestry. More recently, following the kingdom's announcement designating February 22nd as Saudi Arabia's founding day, there has been a notable surge in people immersing themselves in cultural fashion elements and designs. This newfound enthusiasm highlights a growing pride in cultural heritage and an embrace of unique Saudi aesthetics within the fashion landscape. In Saudi Arabia, the traditional men's attire known as thobe and the women's attire known as abaya hold significant cultural importance. The thobe stands out for its tailored fit and cuts resembling a Western dress shirt, distinguishing it from similar garments in the Gulf, North Africa, and South Asia. On the other hand, the abaya was originally a simple, unstructured piece of garment that covered either the upper part or the entire body. Subsequently, with time, subtle decorations started to emerge on these garments, and many different silhouettes started taking shapes indicating a woman's social class, religious affiliations, and even views on sociology. Both the thobe and abaya have undergone evolutions over time, diversifying their color choices beyond the traditional black and white, while embracing modern techniques, trends, silhouettes, and fabrics. Meanwhile, Saudi designers have skillfully retained the garment's cultural significance and unique allure through innovative styles and design choices that push these garments to modern times. The evolution of fashion design in Saudi Arabia has been a profound journey, tracing the transformation of garments over time. However, this progression was not always acknowledged by societal norms. In the early 1990s, being a fashion designer in Saudi Arabia was not as widely recognized and esteemed as it is today. Society held a more simplistic view of this profession. Designers of that era showcased their creations either in their own homes or at fairs where they display their pieces in booths. Nonetheless, there were visionary Saudi designers who defied these conventions through their dedication and talent, ultimately gaining global recognition for their innovative creations. Among these trailblazers stands Yahya al-Bishri, a pioneer who seized the opportunity to design a traditional Saudi dress for the late Lady Diana during a royal visit to the kingdom by then Crown Prince Charles. And in more recent years, couturier Mohammed Ashi, the visionary founder of Ashi Studio, has made a dazzling entrance into the global fashion scene. His magnificent haute couture designs have captured the hearts of royalties and celebrities alike, with luminaries such as Beyoncé and Queen Rania of Jordan proudly showcasing his creations. Until 2020, the fashion industry struggled with insufficient support until the Ministry of Culture established a dedicated fashion commission to champion the sector. Over the last few years, fashion in Saudi Arabia has gained significant popularity and recognition due to the Saudi Fashion Commission's push to amplify opportunities and foster global exposure for Saudi fashion designers in renowned fashion capitals like Paris, Milan, and New York. Through mentorship programs and strategic initiatives, the Commission has propelled rapid advancements in the industry. According to the latest State of Fashion report in 2022, the Saudi fashion industry made a significant impact, contributing 1.4% of the country's GDP, totaling around $12.5 billion. It also employed 230,000 individuals, accounting for 1.8% of Saudi Arabia's total workforce. The Fashion Commission operates on 4 foundational pillars: education, promotion, support, and preservation. One of the Commission's very first initiatives is called Saudi Arabia's Fashion Futures, that aims to reshape the fashion landscape in the kingdom. This digital platform transcends boundaries, offering accessibility worldwide. One notable program, Saudi 100 Brands, now in its 3rd iteration, stands out as a flagship initiative of the Fashion Commission. Launched in 2021, this initiative provides a comprehensive year-long mentorship program designed to enhance the professional development of Saudi fashion brands. Participants benefit from personalized mentorship, expert-led masterclasses, workshops, exhibitions, retail and wholesale opportunities, and enriching educational experiences from esteemed academic institutions. And in a groundbreaking move, the Fashion Commission unveiled Riyadh Fashion Week in 2023, marking a historical milestone as 30 local brands graced the event to present their latest collections. Among these brands stood Tima Abid for her unique fusion of Saudi heritage and contemporary influences, while Kaf by Kaf graced the runway with its avant-garde designs and the contemporary styles of 1886, a favorite among young Saudi men and women. Riyadh Fashion Week is coming back in its 2nd rendition this October 2024. And in more recent events, the Fashion Commission and Misk City joined forces to introduce The Lab, a cutting-edge studio specifically crafted to enhance the fashion manufacturing process. This initiative equips local designers and brands with essential resources to bring their creative visions to life efficiently. More than just a space for innovation, the lab prioritizes sustainable practices within the industry. The fashion industry has witnessed a remarkable transformation in recent years, evolving from a lack of support for creatives and minimal exposure to now boasting avenues like scholarships and prominent fashion runways. The Fashion Commission's unwavering dedication to nurturing a vibrant fashion ecosystem shines through its efforts to reinforcing the symbiotic relationship between fashion brands and luxury fashion buyers, bridging fashion journalists to the runway, and showcasing fashion icons adorned in exquisite Saudi designs. Saudi designers now have a platform to showcase their creative endeavors through numerous culturally significant events, like Riyadh Fashion Week, Red Sea Film Festival, and the Saudi Cup. As I wrap up my segment, I would like to express my gratitude to the Saudi fashion insiders who have contributed to the preparation of this episode. A heartfelt thank you to Slimane Al-Jarbour, Leenah Albaker, Makram Marzouki, Bakri Al-Kaf, Faisal Al-Yousef, and Anud Al-Marwan. To gain a deeper understanding on this rich industry, we have the privilege of interviewing 3 esteemed guests who are experts in their fields. First time I saw him was on TikTok giving style reviews. He is one of the founding members of the Fashion Association and a menswear fashion designer. Joining us today, Yousef Bin Afesh. Yousef, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, and a pleasure to be here. And congrats on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yousef. So, Yousef, you have a brand called Job.
Yep.
So Jubb.
Yep.
What does that stand for? Because your name is Yousef.
Yeah.
Also, Joseph.
Yes.
But what's the UUBB or no?
It's
One U.
Jubb.
Jubb.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So it has nothing to do with kind of the name with my last
Okay.
name. So Job means a well in Arabic.
Interesting.
Basically, I want to connect how a well feeds people in terms of water and hydrate their spirit and body. And we're trying to reflect that concept and take that water reward into the wardrobe, or what kind of wardrobe we're offering in terms of leisure travel and resort wear. So we're kind of we're kind of acting as of your classical wardrobe soulmate when it comes to your travel destinations, especially during the summer and
Summertime.
vacation.
Wow.
So that's kind of the residence or the reflection of that.
Nice. So how did you come up with that? Like,
So I wanted to bring something from my language, from Arabic.
Yeah.
Something very simple, very catchy, yet is not really familiar. And here we go. I found that it's a very, very reflective of what I want, and it's not a lot of people really familiar with this name.
No.
I remember just one guy that caught the meaning of the
Interesting.
of the word. Yeah.
I never knew that Job meant a well.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's very interesting. I bet it took a lot of research into it to get
exactly.
to the.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Okay, so can you tell us about your journey as a menswear fashion designer in Saudi Arabia and what inspired you to pursue this career?
It was
'Cause you were just telling me that you have a day job.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I am sure it is very hard to do
And
this
it has
and
nothing
that.
to do with fashion.
There you go. There you go.
So it's a very emotional question. I think everyone kind of caught their moment when it comes to their passion.
Yeah.
Among the timeline of their lifetime. So my moment, I think, was evolved when I was 10 years old. I used to really organize my closet like crazy, perfectly every day, where I put like different fits, different looks. I love to have different colors speaks to each other. And so when I was 10, I used to have this meticulously organized closet, and sometimes I organize my family's closet.
Wow.
Which is a really interesting kind of habit.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was sleeping at my cousin's house, and he saw me like organizing his closet. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Just leave me. I'm enjoying my time."
Yeah.
And I had this another kind of unusual habit where I change my looks or my clothes more than probably 6 times a day, and sat at the living room alone. First, feeling like satisfied with the look, and then in moments I feel very
Change your
dissatisfied.
mind.
Yeah, lonely. There's nothing in my opinion. There's no guests. There's no one.
Wow.
So I was like, there's something with me that has to do with fashion.
Yeah.
And actually, it's in the DNA. My family has to do with a lot of fashion stuff. So my grandmother from my mom's side used to do couture. And my mom, she admires embroidery, and she loves timeless pieces and antique furniture. So that kind of...
So you grew up in a family that appreciates
fashion-loving family, exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. So that kind of evolved by the time. And the thing that the other thing that I love is these timeless travel destinations like Capri and Amalfi Coast and these kind of destinations. So I wanted to create a story around this kind of atmospheres.
Yeah.
So this is where Job kind of founded or came to life basically, where the story behind it is truly inspired by travel. And all of these relaxed vibes. And in a nutshell, I can describe Job as a young at age, old at soul, new classical resort wear label where we all evolve around the nonchalant elegance.
Wow.
So this is kind of the gist or the spirit of the brand. And we're trying to kind of reflect that on every collection.
You just dropped a collection.
Yes,
recently,
exactly.
Correct?
That was SS24, Spring Summer 24, inspired by Art Deco District in South Beach, Miami. Sorry.
Oh, so Versace vibes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're trying to kind of reflect the colors of the buildings and how this kind of unique district became a hub for creatives and all of these artists around the world, and especially in the States. So that was the core inspiration, and you can tell from the backdrop of the shoot and everything. This was probably the first like full-fledged kind of 360 collection that I dropped, and what's coming is a promise more beautiful.
Inshallah, I'm sure. And you're
so
very creative, mashallah, and much and many more to come.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so how supportive was the Fashion Commission under the Ministry of Culture was to you in promoting and assisting and emerging fashion designers? Because how long have you been in the field?
So I've been in the field. I'm an early adopter. I'm here since 2000, probably 17.
Okay.
So before I kind of established my brand, I used to do like exclusive pieces for me.
Okay.
Yeah, like trousers, because my taste is kind of different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to different stores. I don't find the kind of the
thing you want.
Yeah, the things I want. So I began to kind of start designing my own stuff.
Yeah.
So and then when I heard and saw that people were kind of complimenting what I wear, it triggered something on me. So I established Job, and I was among the early adopters with very, I would say, limited kind of menswear local designers. And since before the inception of the Fashion Commission and Ministry of Culture, it was somewhat challenging to for local talent or local brands to kind of expand their network,
or showcase,
strengthen, exactly, finding the resources among this supply chain, because something very new.
Yeah.
And your primary research, you had to do everything on your own. Find connecting the pieces, leveraging your network, and because it has a lot of kind of building blocks around it. It has something to do with creative product development and business. So it's both. When you enjoy having one, or you're knowledgeable with one,
you're not very successful with the other one.
You need to invest time and effort and knowledge in that.
True.
But with the evolvement of the Fashion Commission and Ministry of Culture, the community got way stronger quickly. There are a lot of supports around different initiatives, projects, events that support this industry and empower it in such a short time that there are the milestone we've seen is magnificent.
It's insane. It's
exactly.
It's very rapid, and the changes are just like shockingly amazing.
Exactly. And every day you wake up with something new.
Last week I was writing the episode, and I wrote the episode a couple of weeks back, and when the lab came out, I was like, wait a minute, I need to rewrite this again.
Exactly.
So I had to put that in, and the changes are just like even with doing in every field, honestly, in Saudi cultural fields, everything is very quickly happening. It's amazing.
That's what's going on with us. Like, we wake up on new things every day.
Yes,
that's what we've kind of asked for before things that happen, and now we cannot even
keep up with
it, which is great. We're so happy. With that.
Alhamdulillah. So you are a part of the Saudi 100 Brands initiative, and you have also showcased your designs in the Riyadh Fashion Week. Last Fashion Week, 2023. What was your experience like? How did that happen? First Fashion Week in Saudi, and what is your experience as an emerging fashion designer to have
such a moment,
and all these platforms for you to showcase your work?
Exactly. So first, I'm truly appreciative and have a high level of gratitude around this opportunity. It really, I was speechless before the show, during the show, and after the show.
Wow.
This great milestone, I think it's a great reflection of the progress that we're doing, not in terms of just the now in terms of the fashion industry, but in terms of the Saudi culture and Saudi progression. So it's truly something that we are all proud of, to have the chance to reflect our culture and express it in from a fashion perspective, fashion lenses.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the show was amazing. I think this year's show is going to be even more beautiful.
So you're in this show too.
They haven't announced the names yet, but hopefully we're rooting
Inshallah.
for it.
But you're in the Red Sea
Yes,
Fashion Week.
exactly.
This is just very recent.
Very recent, yes.
Okay, because I haven't seen any like ads or like
Only
promotions.
teasers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it's at the end of
16th to 18th
Okay.
of May, yeah, because it's going to be part of this category of resort wear, and there's this runway segment, and there's a showroom segment. I'm going to be in the showroom segment, so yeah, it's great. So
Fun
it's
times.
Absolutely.
Well, very exciting.
It's it's going to be my favorite show, by the way.
I bet
After,
it's on the beach.
It's well, not yet. We haven't seen it.
The showroom is not on the beach, but the whole vibe. I mean,
exactly. I mean, the whole vibe is just great.
Jeddah is very
great. Exactly. It's great.
Okay. So what was your experience with Saudi 100 brands? How was that like?
Okay, so the program now is on its third season.
Yeah.
Basically, it's very useful for emerging and local designers to be involved in this program, because as emerging brand or local designers, you don't have a full experience and information around everything.
Yeah.
Because again, there's two streams that you have to focus on when it comes to creative and business, and they're totally different, and somewhat they have to kind of speak the same language. Yeah, exactly. So from a creative part, you have the product development, everything that has to do with creative, and then from a business side, you have everything that has to do with business regarding like managing cash flows and how to do business decisions, etc. So the program really focused on, I would say, mostly three pillars, which is education, mentorship, and exposure.
Okay.
When we take the educational part, it has to do with how do you build this knowledge around managing your business, growing your business, and have this very sustainable methodology around it.
Okay.
And yes, and it has a learning around creative. So, for example, identifying the gaps between like brand storytelling and how you can reflect your creative around communicating it. So it has a lot of foundational kind of learnings, which is very important, because not a lot of people really identify these gaps from early on.
Yeah.
They kind of realize it
later
down the road,
on.
later on. So this is from education level. From mentorship level, we have this weekly great, and this education is part of the master classes, which is happening every week.
Okay.
So with top expertise in the industry, they come, they give us a lot of their experiences, advices, and a lot of learnings around it. From mentorship, every designer has their own mentor.
Okay.
On a monthly basis.
Every designer has their own mentor.
Exactly. And this happens on a monthly basis. You meet with them, and they're a creative designer of big brands, or they have a huge expertise around any kind of segment in the
and where are these mentors from? Are they Saudis, or are they?
We have very diverse. They have this very exclusive kind of session monthly with you. Exactly. So they will talk about anything they want to talk about, whether it's a collection you want to produce, whether it's like a challenge you kind of need to discuss with, and it gives me. So for me, to be honest, mentorship, I identified a lot of gaps within my brand in terms of like foundational level, and we speak about how we can run the business. How can I grow it? What kind of things that I need to focus on when it comes to like the spirit of the brand from a storytelling perspective. And the third part is the exposure.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, let's say you have a good background around business, around product development, you design it, you're good, and then now you need to kind of showcase it to the world, right? Under the Fashion Commission, there are a lot of events that's happening, just like the Tashkil event that happened in Ramadan. We have showcasing some design in Saudi Cup, which is inspired by culture and heritage.
It was beautiful.
Exactly.
I saw it. It was amazing.
Riyadh
mashallah.
Fashion Week is part of it. We have even, the Red Sea. We
Yeah.
have international exposure as well that happened in Mexico and in Paris.
Wow.
And you can show both in a showroom for wholesale or for, in a runway.
Wow.
So the program is very fruitful and truly it's something so great that you cannot really find in different countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'd like to be a designer now.
Now you're jealous, huh?
Very. Okay. So before you were just talking about sourcing materials and finding mills and creating stuff and factories, and how do you deal with that? How do you source materials do you source them locally or do you import them from abroad, or what factors influence this decision depending on whatever the decision was?
So probably the number one factor is the level of complexity of your design.
Okay.
When it comes to requirements, right? So if I'm producing something very simple, I would definitely look for, not necessarily local, but I can, navigate it through a local source.
Yeah.
But yes, again, the one factor that you have to evaluate is the requirement of your design. The more, the complexity of it, probably you won't even find it in GCC countries, find it outside.
Okay.
But I produce, to be honest, both locally and internationally.
Oh, wow.
First, the kind of the positive element of the local kind of production is you would have this 360 monitoring and ensuring that you're involved in every step of the process.
Okay.
And you're gonna have see the sample very quickly.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have this kind of very fast access to what's been going on.
Yeah.
And it's great to be part of the local content initiative.
Absolutely.
And this is something I'm so proud of because, you're not just doing something with the business, you're doing something for the whole country and other businesses. So it's something very great and I'm so proud of. And for the international one, yes, so the level of complexity, if you want to do a hard level of embroidery or prints or any kind of fabrics that you feel like it's very rare to find, you would go international.
Okay.
And the international has some, pros and cons when it comes to like minimum order quantities and stuff. So yeah, it's both.
Okay. So you do both, and which one do you prefer? You said you would prefer locally because it's faster, it's simpler, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why we're happy to have the lab we're talking about.
Right? Yeah.
The one
lab.
of a kind Saudi design studio.
How's the lab? Tell me about the lab.
It's so we've got invited to check out the whole the whole place. It's really great to have this one of a kind design studio in Saudi. Located in Riyadh Muscat. So it's City Muscat, sorry. So it's they have the finest machines and tools that designers need, and they can navigate you through whatever you want when it comes to the craftsmanship.
Yeah.
So it's a great milestone, great step towards completing this full ecosystem or supply chain.
So is it like rooms, or can you explain the concept of the lab to me?
Okay, so it's a big, huge open space where you can see, the machines, the printing machines, the embroidery, and everything is open, and it's like a community hub for designers to kind of come and execute their designs.
Who is welcome to the hub?
So I don't have these kind of details, but I think it's everyone. I think I'm not sure. Everyone who wants to kind of create their own production here. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some of the key challenges that you have faced as an emerging fashion designer in Saudi Arabia, and have you overcome them, or are you still battling through them?
I can say that I'm a jealous. I'm a bit jealous of the current, like the emerging local designers now, because they have everything,
Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Before, you were early adopters. You don't
Yeah,
have that yet kind of access and opportunities
truly.
and community,
Yeah.
and basically a stage for you. And yeah, I think the number one was this, creating this fashion movement when it comes to community, when it comes to different element of the value chain, exposure, kind of opportunities, the program 100 brands, because before, you were in the business and you didn't know how, you didn't have this fresh eye to
Yeah,
come
yeah, yeah.
and see what are you doing and what
Yeah.
kind of missed opportunities that you have. And you don't have this SWOT analysis kind of part. But now, everything, you have to be transparent, to kind of tell your mentor, tell your people with expertise, what kind of level you're in terms of the life cycle, for them to kind of give you useful information
Yeah.
to develop and grow.
Interesting. Okay. So, but I feel like you were just saying you're jealous of the fashion designers but I feel like because you went through so much
Yeah.
challenges, you're invincible. Whatever it is, just
Yeah,
come at me.
it took
It's
the hard
fine.
hit.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
took the hard
yeah.
hit. Yeah.
Okay,
It was an
so
interesting journey, to be honest.
I
There was a
mean,
lot of
I'm
learnings,
sure.
a lot of learnings. You have to be patient, because, for example, it's a simple example, but it happens. So before, it's not about the just the product development, or the factories, or etc. If I'm looking for someone to shoot my collection,
Okay.
photography,
Yeah.
okay. Before, it was a bit challenging for me to find someone who has this fashion or editorial background, right? But now the market is fruitful, and
Everybody's there.
exactly. So among this value chain, there are a lot of creatives and local talents that
Yeah.
can contribute, not just to be designer or one touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very nice. I'm happy for you,
Thank you
honestly,
so much.
because long time coming,
Yes.
right? Right now in Saudi and in the world right
Yeah.
now, honestly. How much impact do you get from having an influencer wear your brand? And yeah,
Yeah. So it's a tricky one, because yes, of course, dealing with influencers and collaborate with them, very critical, because they're kind of the bridge between
you and the people.
the brand commercial kind of image, and then the end customer, or
Yeah.
the target
Yeah.
niche that you're targeting, because they're very they're open, they're flexible, they don't have this perfect image that comes with with the brand. They take very kind of random content, so they're very close to the lifestyle of the people.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
they're trusted. I'm not saying that they
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
me,
yeah.
but their content
Yeah.
is very friendly, and it's very flexible, and it's very very relevant.
Yeah.
The way they create content on probably like TikTok or Snapchat or whatever.
Yeah.
So dealing with them is very important, but you have to find the right influencers who speaks the same language as your brand and spirit, right?
Okay.
I cannot, go with different influencers just for the sake of his followers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have to be wise in choosing them, because you have a
Identity.
an identity, a persona, a
Yeah.
perception in the market, a positioning in the market that you have to be very consistent with, and any activity that relates with you to your brand has to be
It will affect it.
24/7.
Yeah.
You cannot go 5% different and then 95%.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm stuck to that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, did you ever have a collection that was not the Saudi Cup one,
Yeah.
but that was inspired by, let's say, Umluj or Red Sea, or maybe this is coming soon. I don't know.
So the
Or am I giving you ideas?
Yeah. So you're trying to inspire me. So
I'm
the Red
glad.
Sea is coming up.
Okay.
Exclusive pieces for the Red Sea, exclusive
Okay.
looks. So I'm not gonna burn that.
Okay, fun.
But if I want to, because the brand is it doesn't have this very bold, direct cultural reflection.
Yeah.
But I always try to find a reflection of my, our cultural elements.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
this is where because the one thing that reflects our culture in my brand is comfort, and this has to do with, for example, the thobe. And
Yeah.
this is why the trousers you see in front of you is inspired by thobe fabric, because
Oh.
we feel so comfortable wearing thobe, and it
Wow.
and it speaks.
Yousef, wow, bravo.
Yeah, and it speaks, on a feeling level. It's something I would wear. I would have, a very similar
Yeah.
fabric or feeling when I wear thobe. So that's why that's the element that I kind of hit.
Work on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. I didn't know this. Honestly, this is so
That was,
cool.
that was a surprise.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming soon, we will see probably a collection that's gonna be inspired by Saudi.
Yes,
Yes.
this is in the plan.
Very exciting. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and there is one this, for example, this piece. So I remember when we talked about the creative. Sometimes there are deep dive into your creativity in terms of how flexible the design is, right? Because it has a lot of craft and work and meticulous details.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have very simple inspiration that you can reflect immediately. For example, this shirt is inspired by a vintage velvet sofa that I saw somewhere. So I reflected velvet in my shirt because, shirting is kind of the code of the brand. So there are some very simple inspiration that can inspire you. It doesn't have to be really deep and you go very deep dive and you think it's very hard and you overthink it. No, sometimes the idea is
It's just simple.
It's very simple, straight to the point, very bold and very unique.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a very, very niche audience when it comes to, because I don't think I've seen a Saudi brand that does like shirts or like vacation shirts, I would say, or a vacation wear.
Yeah.
And island. Is it island wear? Would you say?
Yeah, it has anything to do with
the beach.
yes.
With
the summer fun.
Yeah. It's the first time I ever see a brand like this, and I think, is there any pressure to because what we have been seeing lately, a lot of fashion designers have been inspired by cultural elements.
Yeah.
By either parts of Saudi or like just cultural elements in general.
Yeah.
Either Sadu or a lot of Sadu.
Yeah.
But is there pressure? Do you feel like there is pressure on you to create something that is strictly cultural, or it's okay and it's fine, and you want to identify your own self and then maybe embed something within it?
That's a great question. There's no pressure.
I'm sorry, it's not here.
No.
I just thought of this question.
No. It's a really great question. Of course there's no pressure. You want to be part.
Yes, because it's a trend.
Culture. Yes,
and it's evolving, and everybody's like jumping on this wave. So if you're not on it,
you can of course you can embed it. So you have to speak your soul with the brand. You have to reflect what you live. Reflect what you like, what you love, and what you wear, and even sometimes before you start a brand. So, for example, the kind of the 70s flared trousers, I used to wear them before I started Job.
Yeah.
Right. So it's something that has to do with me, and it has to do with the style and the wardrobe that I'm
inspired
loving
by.
And inspired by. So you create these kind of elements around this, right? And the cultural part is very beautiful when you embed it perfectly.
When you do it
tastefully, perfectly, and it matches the spirit of them. You cannot go really
like this, for example.
Exactly. Here we go.
Yeah.
So it's something very, I would say, like hidden, but it's not hidden. But it's you wouldn't expect this to be top trousers, right? But you have to be very elegantly careful when it comes to reflecting cultural elements, especially like Saudi the culture is very unique, it's very strong, it's magnificent. So you have to take a part that can speak both, you know, and it reflects a brand, and yes, it reflects the culture at the same time.
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends, and how do you change like consumer preferences? I don't know the fashion
Yeah.
men's wear market, but is it hard to keep up with the men?
فلوس قديمة. You know, this is
Old
manifesto.
money.
Old money. No.
Old money.
So two things, to be honest. Observation. I love observing what people are wearing. Sometimes, I don't say trend, but sometimes a pattern can be triggered from one person.
Yeah.
And, you know, creatives and designers get inspired by this element, right? You would design something, you know, you would get compliments around it, and then you would see it expanded, and people would kind of wear the same thing you're wearing, right?
Yeah.
So observation, what colors are wearing, what kind of things that I can do uniquely. It doesn't have to be something that is, you know, in trend, or something has to do with what's popular in the market,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But I observe what people are wearing, and what kind of unique element that can be embedded in
your
the
brand.
brand,
Okay.
in a very, you know, careful way.
Okay.
And as you said, I'm targeting a very niche market.
Yeah.
I don't have this very, you know, mass approach. So yeah, so observation. The second part is social media.
Yeah.
I'm a big Instagrammer. So
Yeah.
I love Instagram because it has huge, countless feeds and content around
Yeah.
fashion. Because you know, you cannot, because once you have this inspirational eye for you know, as a habit,
Yeah.
ways of thinking, anything can inspire you. You know, if you bring any designer and put any object in front of them, they can get inspired. You know,
Yeah.
get inspiration out,
That's
something out of
beautiful.
it. So it's, yeah, so observation and social media, plus I read a lot of articles and researches from Business of Fashion, which is a great platform for you know, entrepreneurs, because they kind of have this very unique perspective when it comes to research and
Yeah.
what big brands are doing, and or they talk about emerging brands, and we see a lot of emerging brands. They have unique storytelling, and I would say a reflective of their life, right? So
Okay.
because sometimes you would see luxury brands that are really, you know, I would say big on luxury goods or leather.
Yeah.
But now you would see someone talk about, you know, a different aspect of their lifestyle, and then they kind of mirror it to a brand.
Yeah.
And then you know, they would say, okay, who can relate to this lifestyle, right? And this is growing because
yeah,
the
yeah.
market now, I cannot say, oh, I want to create a position around leather
Yeah.
goods, right? Because it's the market saturated. Everyone is doing leather. But you have to bring a unique soul,
Yeah.
right? For example, if you want to get inspired by basketball,
Yeah.
right, you would see that players are wearing
Jerseys.
you know,
Yeah,
like jerseys,
basketball, yeah.
and it's for them, the entrance is a runway for them. So there is an opportunity around this.
Yeah.
There is an opportunity around very unique cultural kind of fashion from, you know, Asia or different parts of the world. So there are the different inspirations. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So two more questions for you.
Yep.
First one is, what advice would you give someone who wants to get in the fashion market, either design or work as a fashion buyer, a photographer? What would you tell them in this day and age?
Okay, so the era is now. I think we have you know, countless opportunities that's been going on, and this is something that has to do with the great empowerment that coming from the Ministry of Culture, the Fashion Commission, the Fashion Association. For designer, I would say you have to focus on your foundation. You take your time building the narrative. The narrative has to do with you. It has to do something with you. It has to do something with your soul. It has to do something with some things you lived in, things you like, things you're like, you cannot live without.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then build a narrative around it. I'm not talking about like building a paragraph of stories.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
the story can be one line or it can be 3 words, but it has to be bold,
Coming from here also.
coming from the heart, bold, unique, simple, straight to the point, and relatable. You know, not for anyone,
Yeah,
for your
yeah.
I would say niche or target market.
Okay.
And this is how you kind of succeed. Before you think about logos,
Yeah,
and before you
yeah.
think about manufacturers, foundation is everything. Because if you don't have this, you can build a collection. You can get inspired by anything, and you can produce and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna stop because you don't have a core spirit
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah,
back. Because
yeah.
if, for example, job, I can, since I'm a like resort wear, nonchalant elegance, vacation wear, okay, I can reflect every timeless travel destination around the world.
Okay.
Right. From countless, right, from like Al-Ula to Asia to Europe to, so it's this inspiration is unstoppable.
Massive, yeah,
It's
yeah,
massive.
yeah.
It's great. So you have to create something that gives you inspiration.
Absolutely.
Every time. For different talents in the value chain, the opportunities are still there. Whether you're a photographer, whether you're a buyer, but you have to find a gap that you can fill. Don't do things the same as your friend or somebody the market
Find what you want.
exactly. Find what you want, find an opportunity, and then start patiently, draw your plan, take steps, take actions. Because you're going to learn a lot from your actions. Yes, you have to be careful in terms of I'm not saying you will make mistakes, but you have to just
try to avoid
indulge
them.
in it,
Indulge in it. Okay, yeah, fair.
and learn every day, and then you're gonna wake up, or you look back, you would say, wow,
Look at me now.
look at me now.
Wow.
But just go with the flow. Everything is gonna teach you, and everyone is gonna teach you, and keep the good network and relationship with the people around you. Because sometimes you would sleep on a relationship with someone, and you don't think there will be like a win-win situation where you would leverage it, but you just keep it peaceful and keep it great with everyone.
Be very opportunistic.
Opportunistic, yes.
Yes, there you go.
That's the word.
Okay, one last question. What
Yes.
what does fashion mean to you?
Way of living.
It's the way of living.
It's a way of living. That's it's my soul. It's something I wake up and sleep on. It's something I enjoy, something I inspire people with, something that I would leave everything for fashion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
a good,
passion.
that's a good outro.
That's a very good
Yeah.
answer. That's passion.
Yes, it
Honestly,
is.
it's your drive, it's your passion, it's everything.
Exactly. So because it grew within me, from the family.
Yeah.
And it's I'm kind of now, it's my room is like the mall of the house. So anyone is stealing,
Everybody
they
comes
come in.
and picks something up. That's nice.
That's a bad thing about it.
but it's good because you got good taste.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yousef, thank you so much for joining
Pleasure
us
to be
today.
here. Thank you so
and
much.
It was a pleasure meeting you the first time, and a pleasure seeing you again here.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yousef. He is a Saudi traditional fashion historian. His passion for fashion and cultural heritage is evident in his family's store for 3 generations. Is that correct?
Yes.
His years of collecting fashion pieces
Correct.
have created a museum,
Okay.
which I have had the privilege and honor to see.
Okay.
Joining us today, Hassan Bin Ghaith. Hassan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hassan, how did your journey start?
I started with my father in the shop when I am young. I be aware of what's in market 1965.
Okay.
And I traveled with my father abroad to India, mainly to India.
Wow, okay.
Yes. And we used to, our clients, the elite. The elite
In Saudi.
in Saudi.
Okay.
Especially the royal family.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
we bring very expensive items. We used to work in perfumes, wedding clothes, expensive ones,
Okay.
and also mainly we import from India
Okay.
and from Europe through Lebanon.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So you used to travel to India,
India, correct.
Lebanon,
Yes.
Levant countries.
Yes, only Lebanon and India mainly.
Okay.
Because Europe wasn't that open for us before, and through agents in Lebanon.
Okay. Okay. So it has been a passion for you of yours since you were
Young, yes, correct.
since you were young.
Correct.
And it grew with you
All right.
till
yes.
this day.
Correct.
Okay. So, Hassan, can you tell us what are the traditional Saudi clothes for men and for women?
Clothes is an art. It reflects the economical situation of the society.
Okay.
In our culture, the climate have a role in what we are wearing. For men, usually white, bright colors.
White, bright colors.
Correct.
Okay.
And also, there's special clothes for each occasion.
Okay. Like what?
Ayad.
Okay,
which
for
is
Eid.
For Eid,
Okay.
and also for marriages,
Okay.
and for ceremonies, and for
Weddings.
Wedding,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
It has a different type of clothes for each occasion.
Okay.
The same thing goes to
The
women, but in case of women, we add more colorful clothes. We add pleasant colors to the environment.
Okay.
It's our environment is dull, one color. We like contrast. We add
A pop of color.
correct
Okay.
contrast colors to just ease the eyes. We use that in our tents,
Yeah.
homes, furniture,
Okay.
and also in the horses, also in the camels.
Okay.
We like contrast colors. We
Okay.
add flavor to the life.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, for women, it's usually more colorful
Correct.
than men.
Some part of the kingdom, they like accessories. Silver, gold, and beads,
Okay.
and stones, all kind of stones.
Okay.
It's essential to use accessories. Accessories always essential.
Can you provide us with some insights on the historical evolution of Saudi fashion?
Okay. Usually clothes created by the people needs.
Okay.
It's the more the economic it has influence. The
Economical impact.
economic impact, it has an effect on the clothes.
Okay.
Before, we used to have only from the organics material, linen, cotton, wool, and silk.
Okay.
And these items in the past. And after 1940,
Okay.
there is a new items which our ancestors did not know about it, which is polyester and nylon. These items create a new consumption, high consumption of clothes.
Yeah.
It is also cheaper and more durable.
Okay.
These things also became, before we did not have ready-made.
Okay.
After 1940, or in the beginning of beginning of the century,
Okay.
there's two factors: washing machine, sewing machine, and industrial revolution.
Industrial revolution, yeah.
Yes, of the materials from
okay.
the oil.
Okay.
Now the big change now. But what we have, our ancestors did not know about it.
Okay. Okay. So there was a huge
Change.
shift and change.
Correct. It's all over. It's global.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what are some of the textiles or materials that originate from Saudi Arabia in terms of yeah.
No, we cannot say from our from our area, we are traders. We
Okay.
bring things from outside. But we are affected by material from Syria and Iraq and Egypt.
Okay.
And India.
Okay.
It's all imported, most of it.
Okay. So, but don't we have? But I'm sure we have
Wool,
wool.
only wool.
And you told me before the
Raffia.
yeah.
Raffia, yes.
Okay, that
Raffia,
comes
we
from the
can-
palm
look,
trees.
Raffia and needle, we make houses, tent, furniture. This is all by handmade. Other cultures, they have wood.
Okay.
We don't have wood. We have needle and raffia and wool.
Okay.
We create everything from that thing.
Okay.
Our homes is created from palm trees and from the sheep wool.
Okay. Okay. So, what are some of the popular designs or patterns that are frequently incorporated in traditional Saudi clothes?
What we see in the market now, it's old. It's a creation between two civilizations. In Iraq and in Iran.
Okay.
During the early Islam age. Because of our culture, we did not like pictures.
Okay.
And therefore, we have flowers,
Okay.
fruits, palm trees, shape of arts.
Yeah, like these.
Correct.
Okay.
Shape of the sky and yes. So no human
But drawings.
no human
Okay,
drawing.
okay.
And it's from that since then it's became that's what be worn now. It's
Okay.
always flowers.
Always flowers.
Correct.
Okay. How has the traditional Saudi attire evolved through the years? What are the factors that influenced these changes?
It's usually movement of the people, the economical situation,
Yeah.
and also what happening before the Second War,
Second World War.
after
Yeah.
war.
Yeah.
These are all it has effect in our culture and our istihlak
Yeah. Our consumption.
consumption.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Okay. So, why do different regions in Saudi Arabia have different styles? In Najd, we have a style, north, south, Al-Hijaz, Eastern Province, different styles everywhere.
The kingdom has the most variety here and India.
Okay.
Nowhere else we have so much variety.
Okay. Variety, you mean in style?
In style in each place.
Okay.
The reason is our area is always there is
But caravan trails.
Caravan trails and trade. And the reason for the changes, it's interact with neighbors.
Okay.
Or
Neighboring
movement
countries, yeah.
of people or tribes.
Yeah.
And also through history. It's a long history and and they still like the old tradition and they keep generation after generation.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Beautiful. Okay. So, can you explain the importance of color choices in traditional Saudi clothing? And what is the cultural symbolism behind it?
Okay, the colors usually before comes from the environment.
Okay.
It's a vegetable coloring.
Okay.
And not too many colors in the past. What's famous in Syria is different than Egypt.
Okay.
The most color are in Iran and India.
Okay.
They have more variety of colors because of the trees and the culture. We have colors, but all from trees and insects.
Pomegranates.
Correct. All, yes.
And you told me earlier Nila.
Nila.
Okay.
Yes.
Which
and
is
also,
the blue color.
And also ladybug.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Ladybug create the most bright red color.
And how did they do that exactly?
In Iran, they use it in carpet, the expensive carpets.
Oh, wow. And what about here?
No. we use only yellow from curcum
Okay.
and from Rumman,
The
bergamot,
pomegranate, yeah.
correct, and also from burning things,
Okay.
from other trees, a lot of trees,
Okay.
a lot of vegetables they can create colors from.
What can we say the primary colors in Saudi Arabia are for clothing?
Green,
Okay.
5 or 6, which you can create locally or around surrounding
Okay.
area. Not too many colors. Now it's thousands, hundreds of thousands because of the chemical
Yeah.
effect.
Okay.
Before, not too many bright colors. You can see that in carpets and the tents.
Yeah.
You always bright red color. We like it very much.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. How do you see the role of fashion evolving in the context of preserving Saudi cultural heritage in fashion heritage?
We have an asset of a collection of nice clothes we would like to keep.
Okay.
And we don't like, also I hope that it will be kept as original from the original taste.
Yeah.
Not influenced by the consumption or not from the roots.
Okay. So you feel like it shouldn't be commodified in a way
Correct.
to the point where it loses its
We should
essence.
stick to the roots.
Okay.
Some people would like to modify, take ideas, inspire. It's okay.
Okay.
But the original ones, it has to be kept.
Has to say the same.
Correct.
Okay. And can you tell me about the story that you told me about Jackie Kennedy's dress and King Saud?
1962, President Kennedy came to Saudi,
Yes.
and King Saud gave him a piece of
Fabric.
Jacqueline Kennedy, his wife,
Yeah.
a piece of textile.
Okay.
It's an organza printed with gold,
Wow.
and I have similar piece to it. The
Can we-
same.
can we-
Yes, I can bring it. I'll show it to you.
Would you sell that piece?
No, I will not. I have so many, I cannot sell so many. I even have more.
You showed me a lot of them, and
yes.
when I begged you, I want to buy one of them.
No, I cannot. I have so many art.
Okay. They're precious to you.
Correct.
Close to your heart.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not you cannot have it again.
Yeah.
It's one of a kind.
But you do other you recreate these styles.
This is my
correct?
passion.
This is your passion.
Yes, I would like to. I don't compromise. I create up to the original pieces.
Okay.
I work hard on that. I don't. I mean, no, I cannot make my own consumption or so into the piece. I follow the
Original piece.
Correct.
Would you sell those pieces that
Yes,
you
I do.
recreate?
This is for business. Yes.
Okay.
I sell this for documentaries, movies, occasions,
Yes.
gift item. Correct.
Yes.
I have the original ones.
This book, you told me earlier that
some of the pieces
some
from
of the
our shop. Correct.
pieces are from your shop.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Some
Can
of them, yes.
Some of them.
Yes.
Can you tell us about some of the pieces that you got for us today? Because you were so very generous with getting a lot of things for us.
This piece is brocart.
What's
brocart?
Brocart.
It's originated from Syria, Damascus.
Okay.
Pure silk with gold.
This is real gold?
This is no, but the original one with gold.
With real gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is مسرع أو ثوب نشل. This is always associated with marriages, dancing with Samri. Whenever the Samri goes, this will go.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Perfect. What about the pieces over here?
This is tatriz. In our culture, we like embroidery. And we call it tatriz before moda. Moda, it's a modern word.
Yeah.
This is how we call it tatriz or taraz. This is 90% of this used and created by our culture.
Okay.
In Syria, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. This one.
Okay.
And always there is a Beit al-Taraz or fashion house in our history. There is always a government sector, especially for VIP people or the king or for clothes. This come from China.
Okay.
This original Chinese, very old traditional Chinese, we call it Tsin, from Kalmat Tsin.
It's seen.
Tsin, yes.
Okay. From China, the word China.
Correct.
Okay.
This one, Muslim. Muslim created in Mosul, Muhafazat Nainawa in Iraq.
Okay.
It goes to India and France and Europe. Until we get the polyester, it's phased out.
Oh. So
This is
nobody uses this anymore.
Very difficult to wear, ironing, shrinks, but it's delicate and beautiful.
Oh. Okay. Beautiful.
This is shaliki.
This one.
This shaliki, this come from the culture of Arab culture in Iraq.
Okay.
This is old, very old, goes to Turkey, from Turkey to Europe. They call it in Europe Ottoman. We call it shaliki.
Okay.
Shaliki is a Turkish word.
Okay.
But it originated from, it's integrate between Persian and Islamic culture, this one.
Okay. Okay.
And this one also here.
All right.
This one, the same. It's flowers.
Yeah.
So
and this one is called, I know this one is
Yes, correct.
Rubiana.
Rubiana is come from Himalayas,
Okay.
from the Indian culture, from Kashmir.
Ah.
It presents the baby in the mother.
In the womb.
Correct.
Wow.
In the 1980, Europe took over India and became brand
Etro.
Atro.
Oh.
This one.
Wow.
That's good. As is ties, bags.
Yeah.
It's forever.
Yeah.
And it's become international taste.
Wow. Wow.
It's
Okay.
all over. It's always comes in the market.
Yeah.
In different colors, different this one.
What about the pieces over here? Because
This we call them taftaf.
the one on the right?
Correct. This is
Taftaf.
taftaf usually worn 2-in-1. The lady can meet people, men,
Okay.
greet them, invite them, wearing this.
Okay.
This is instead. This is can worn by in the desert, in the farms. They can meet men with these clothes. Yeah.
Okay.
That went to the left.
Yeah.
This is 1940, before the oil. This is the fashion in Saudi. It's pure cotton
Okay.
with beads and embroidery.
Beautiful. And this
Yeah.
is your design.
No, it's not my design, but I recreated from from Aramco pictures from when the oil people come and take pictures of the people in the desert. The same thing I recreate, the same material, same
Hassan,
design.
you are
This is it.
national treasure.
Yeah,
Honestly.
this is the same.
MashaAllah.
It's also a lot of photos of this.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But you recreated this one.
Correct,
The one on the right.
correct.
Okay. Beautiful. Hassan, thank you so much
Shukran jazeelan.
for everything. Thank you for being here. And it's a pleasure and an honor.
Allah يحفظك.
Honestly. Thank you.
شكراً.
Shukran. She's a luxury retail consultant and fashion buyer, a Saudi fashion expert joining us today, Leenah Albaker. Leenah, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Leenah, long-awaited interview, صراحة. Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask you a few questions on the Saudi market and retail and fashion in Saudi. What is the relationship between fashion designers and stylists? Yani it's always very symbiotic since you're very familiar with the Saudi market. Do you advise Saudi designers on also international brands on what is selling in the market right now, what's in, what's out? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a very beautiful relationship. It's something that's really essential within the industry. I realized that there is a lot of different components when it comes to the fashion industry.
Yeah.
I think traditionally there was always the understanding that there's only fashion designers.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that you see when a runway is presented.
True.
But there's a lot of different people backstage that contribute to the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And one of them is the stylists, there's the fashion merchandisers, there's the creative directors. There's so many different components when it comes to that. So for me, back in 2012, when I first graduated from high school, I understood that there's a lot of talent when
Yeah.
it comes to fashion design at a time where there wasn't really that understanding of what it is to be a local designer or in general to pursue it as a career, which is why I looked into different colleges and kind of what programs other than fashion design do they provide.
Yeah.
And I found that within the business side, there is something called fashion merchandising, which is what I majored in.
Yeah. Wow.
And basically, I majored in that because I knew that there's a lot of talent, but in order to have these talents really succeed and be able to have a sustainable business, they need the fashion merchandisers with them. So what fashion merchandising is essentially, it's basically the business side of everything that happens after the design process. So once a designer has completed the design process,
So finish the collection, they call you guys.
exactly.
All right.
So the merchandiser works within, you'll see it like within all big houses, there is the merchandising team, which basically works on kind of edit in terms of the collection, where can they sell it, how can they sell it, what's the distribution plan and all of these things. So it's basically the business side of things. And I think that really helps the designers to be essentially just creatives. And that's kind of their core. And then the merchandiser is kind of the business side of the business.
Okay. Very well put answer. يعني مرة on point. Thank you. So recently we've seen a lot of cultural design elements in a lot of the Saudi collections. Some might be very subtle, some are very avant-garde, some are just plain with zero creativity. In your opinion, do you feel like fashion designers are obligated at this time to design cultural design elements because of the I don't want to call it a trend, but the how people are reacting to culture right now?
Yeah.
Or does this surge of cultural fashion makes them stir away from their own creative designs and their creative identity?
Yeah. I think that's such a beautiful question because I think there is such an importance in creating, in basically highlighting our cultural aspects.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's important for designers to be authentic to who they are and draw inspiration from where they see fit.
Yeah.
I think designers that kind of do things because that makes the most sense don't necessarily have the longevity within the brand because it doesn't speak to themselves or it doesn't really kind of do something within the fashion world. I think in general, we have a lot of different designers and some are, you know, their key focus and their strength are the cultural elements and how they bring, you know, different inspiration from different areas of Saudi and they do it really well. And I think that's so necessary. But at the same time, it's important that designers do what's authentic to themselves because at the end of the day, Saudi is a huge country and there's such a vast offering. And I think there's space for everyone, whether it's streetwear or couture or ready to wear or, you know, whatever you think is the best thing for you and you can do it really well in the best way possible. I think do that.
Fair enough. In your opinion, what distinguishes the Saudi fashion market from regional markets and what opportunities and challenges does this uniqueness present in the industry?
I think one of the biggest, things and the most important, and I think we always talk about this, is the size of Saudi.
Yeah.
I think that is something that we touch on a lot, but at the same time, it's truly really important to be able to emphasize that because in comparison to other countries, it is
one of the largest. So with that, there is a lot of opportunities within different regions. So I think that is obviously translates through all industries, and like so within retail and fashion.
Yeah.
So I think the most important is definitely size. I think with size also there's diversity. So we have different regions. There's different, the consumer within Jeddah is completely different than the consumer that lives in Riyadh. And
How so?
so I think there's just different habits and different lifestyle elements that contribute to the, purchasing ways of different people in different regions. We've noticed, for example, like within merchandising and buying, there's, within Riyadh, for example, there is more of a kind of tailored approach to things when they would want things that are more refined, whereas Jeddah I feel like are more
ready to wear.
outgoing. Exactly, and they're more friendly when it comes to color and prints and all of these because of the landscape of it.
Yeah.
So these things definitely contribute to fashion and retail, obviously, and I think there is such an authenticity in the Saudi market that I think is so unique in comparison to other markets. Obviously, it's still, we're still kind of in the first steps of things. So we're still discovering what that looks like, what the subcultures look like when it comes to, Jax, I think, have done such a great job in terms of highlighting these subcultures within art, within music, within fashion. And I think all of these components do factor in fashion because they're all kind of one ecosystem in a way that contribute to each other.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, Godspeed to you all. Designers, fashion buyers, anyone who is in this industry, because I know that it's very hard to keep up with a lot of things.
Definitely, it really is.
And with everything that's happening right now in the country, because the changes are just so rapid and very you're have to be on your best game too.
Exactly, 100%. I think it's so important for everyone to just be curious and kind of adaptable in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So how we were just talking about how hard it is to keep up, but how risky is the fashion market in Saudi? What advice would you give a person that wants to open up a concept store or a boutique or even start up a fashion brand? Would you encourage them to do that, or would you tell them to think twice?
I think in general, with any business, you have to understand that it's something that is, it's an amazing thing to do, but at the same time, it is something that takes a lot of work, just like anything in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important to really think about these decisions before, making them. But at the same time, I think the most important thing and advice I would give is to focus on the longevity of things and not kind of look for the immediate success. I think I've seen and I've worked with a lot of designers within my career throughout different regions, international, from Japan to Korea to Australia and Saudi.
Yeah.
And I think I've noticed within the 7 years with a lot of brands that I started with till today is their focus on longevity has really paid off because it really takes time for you to develop your authenticity, your identity when it comes to a brand and what that looks like, and be adaptable to change, right? So like if there is, obviously we've seen that with COVID, with all of the businesses, being adaptable is so important, being receptive of kind of the opportunities. And I think right now in Saudi, there's such an amazing opportunity for businesses in general because we have such a microscope on Saudi and we have the opportunity that not a lot of locations have, where we have, investors coming in so many times a year. We have talents coming in. We have publications coming in. We have a lot of press and media and different components when it comes to factoring in a business. So I think taking these opportunities and truly networking and utilizing these opportunities that are given that maybe like a couple of years ago weren't really there is so important.
Okay. When you talk about the longevity of the process of a brand, what do you mean by longevity in terms, what does that entail exactly?
So I think in general, there's a lot of developments that comes through. So for example, I've seen brands that design, their first collection and then season after season, they kind of open it to distribution globally. And then they get feedback from different regions, let's say like obviously the GCC is completely different than the US, etc.
Yeah.
And they get different comments. And as they get these comments and as they see where are their best performing products, what are they doing really well, what are the customers really wanting,
Yeah.
they adapt to that and then they grow that more. So it's really being able to kind of take the steps, but at the same time take the feedback and really put it back into the business.
Okay.
And then kind of fuel it
So
again.
listen, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So how has the establishment of the Fashion Commission under the Ministry of Culture impacted the regulatory framework and support of the fashion industry as a whole?
I mean, the Fashion Commission honestly has done such an incredible job. Today we were just at the Women's Wear Daily Summit, and it was, such an eye-opening experience in general. And I think everything that they're doing is amazing. And one of the talks, the panel talks, had Razan Azouni.
Okay.
And she touched on a point in terms of the regulations and how Razan was one of the first designers that started, and she's kind of the pioneers of Saudi fashion designers. And she was talking about how when she had an order from Moda Operandi back in the day, and she had to get certain documentations, and when she had to get them, they didn't really understand that, and they also it wasn't really offered for clothing.
Yeah.
And now it's like so easy online to get it. It's so quick to get it. So I think one of those things, that is one of the things that they've, supported. And also I think the licensing of fashion shows, for example. So I think there's so many things, and there's so many things in the pipeline. There's so many things that they're working on. They're really touching on all of the pillars that we considered back in the day as challenges. And I think they're doing such an incredible job. Obviously, these things take time. And I think it's really important to kind of look back and see where we are today and where we're going.
Yeah. That's great. Amazing work, Sarah. We can see that. Yani. Could you highlight, I know you don't like to pick favorites, but could you highlight some of the few emerging fashion designers and brands that have garnered the attention in the recent years, and for their innovative styles, for their uniqueness, for...
I think there's honestly so much talent, but if I can think of a couple of brands that I've recently worked with, and I think I've personally seen through working with them such amazing products, such amazing just in general, I think brands that truly do things that are authentic to them, going back to that, really resonates with people, and it does show. And I think Abadia is one of the first brands that I can think of.
Amazing.
She's such an incredible brand. I think she's been there for such a long time, but she was one of the first to be on Net-a-Porter. She just did a pop-up in Galerie Lafayette in France
Wow.
on the second floor, and she is really truly pioneering. She has sustainability as part of her.
It's a part of her mandate.
Exactly, which is so incredible to see, because it's not an easy thing to be able to integrate sustainability from such a small brand, and to be able to,
and in an industry where it's very fresh and new.
Exactly,
the concept is very new.
Exactly,
for you to incorporate that
is wow. I truly respect and salute
Abadia.
MashaAllah. So Abadia, Apoa is an amazing brand. It's a jewelry brand, and they're truly beautiful. They have their own. I mean, I've worked with so many jewelry brands, but I have never seen something like this. It's truly beautiful. It's very. It's something that it gives you a feeling, and I think brands that do that are, I think that's what fashion is all about, right? It's supposed to give you something. It's supposed to make you feel something, and they do that really well. Another one that I can think of is called the Dropped Collection.
The
Dropped Collection. So basically, they focus a lot on tailoring, and I think with tailoring specifically, the reason that I was really impressed is the quality that it takes, and it takes such a lot of requirements for them to be able to perfect really well tailored products, because it's something that's so easy, and a lot of brands do it, but at the same time, a lot of people think it's easy, but it's actually not. But they've done it in such an amazing way, so they're a brand to keep an eye out.
MashaAllah. Okay, so those three.
I think those three,
My personal favorite, I'm wearing it right now, Saraha. I can't live without Nofisteri.
Yes,
abayas.
definitely.
It's my everyday abayas.
I agree.
Her colors are just amazing. Very, يعني, they live for a very long time.
True.
And they're just, and thank you, Nofsteri, for just existing.
Yeah, true. Honestly, she's such an incredible. I think she did something that, again, she had something that she wanted to do, which is basically like simplified abayas.
Yes.
And I think we needed something to be that
is
simple. She has a
simple.
store, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You can really go in and go out.
There you go.
And it's, a
and
lot
the
of people.
variety of colors, the styles.
Exactly. And it's, it's very dependable. And I think that's really important when you look at a brand, is you know exactly what you're getting. And
exactly.
she has that. Yeah.
Every time I wake up and I want to go to work, I'm like, what abaya am I going to wear today? I'm like, for sure, Nofsteri.
Exactly.
And who's it going to be?
Exactly.
Nofsteri for sure. Okay, so what are some of the unique challenges that Saudi fashion brands face in Saudi as compared to international counterparts? And how can they overcome these challenges? We've talked about how the Ministry of Culture, the Fashion Commission, have supported so much in the recent years, but what is something that they're still struggling with, that's still an obstacle that's in the way for fashion designers?
I think the main three things that I can think of, first is education, but I think they just recently announced the partnership with Institute Marigoni.
Okay.
So I think that's such a huge step in terms of that, because obviously everything goes back to education, first and foremost. I mean, I owe a lot to my education. I think it taught me a lot, and I think having that partnership will truly shift in terms of the future of fashion. The second thing I can think of is apprenticeship. So
what does apprenticeship
basically
mean?
so basically it's basically where designers can work at houses. And
it's like
it's like training, basically.
Co-op, or
basically, yes.
What's the other word for it? Okay, anyways.
Yeah. So basically, I think because we don't have a lot of houses that have a lot of history and a lot of years, because obviously when you go to learn something, you want to learn it from someone that has been there for such a long time. So I think that's something that is not available yet. Because obviously, again, when it comes to technicalities, the best way to learn it is through experience and through trial and error. So I think that's one of the things. The third thing is production, but they also just launched the lab, which is in Misk City. So I think
exciting.
It is really exciting. So I think in general, like I told you, the Fashion Commission really does a lot of workshops in general to listen and kind of to understand what is missing. And with the 100 Brands program, they sit with the designers, they understand what's lacking. They sit with people like us with it, which are like in the business side of things, and they also understand from us. So I think with having different components, they are touching up on a lot, but at the same time, like there's just so much that you can do in such a short time.
True.
So I think these things just take time. It's just a matter of time that we will see more schools, we will see more, production.
Inshallah. So with the evolving fashion landscape in Saudi Arabia, how do you see the future of fashion in Saudi Arabia? How does Saudi Arabia position itself on an international stage?
I mean, this is one of my favorite questions, I think, because when I first went to study back in 2012, I remember that, everyone would used to ask me, like, are you sure you want to study fashion? Like, is this something...
Where was this? Where you studied?
I studied in San Francisco, fashion merchandising. And everyone in Saudi was like, where are you going to work? What are you going to do? And now there's so many opportunities. And I'm so happy that I followed my gut at the time and followed pursued my dream, basically. But at the same time, I think now we're in such a time where I almost sometimes like pinch myself. Like today at Women's Wear Daily, I was like, I can't believe that this publication that I used to like literally depend on my research in college and do so much with it.
What a moment.
And now like I can literally get in my car and go and have, some of the best, like we had Norma Kamali, which is an amazing designer. We had people from the LVMH groups. We had, different from My Teresa, different people and like industry experts that are literally at our fingertips. that's what I was saying when I was saying that we have opportunities, and it's so important to be able to take these things in. So I think going back to your question in terms of what the future looks like, there's obviously a lot of eyes on Saudi. There's a lot of excitement there, which is amazing. It's an amazing time to be here. So I think we're going to see a lot of different developments. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different projects happening, which obviously means and translates into retail. And that obviously, factors in terms of the fashion world. We're seeing a lot of brands and designers coming in to do kind of, whether it's their activations or events, and have more of a presence, where before it was always in different countries in the GCC, and now their focus is Saudi. So all of these things obviously contribute to the ecosystem of it. So it's definitely exciting. I also see a lot of companies focusing their operations when it comes to services and offerings here. So we see, like, when it comes to deliveries with e-commerce or different things, having more of a speed when it comes to Saudi and Riyadh. So it's just exciting, I think.
Wow. So, Yani, we can say that right now you can dream, and your dreams will definitely come true in Saudi.
Definitely.
Vision 2030.
Yes.
We're coming. Okay. So, how important, we just talked about sustainability and Abadia and her amazing initiative to take on sustainability in her brand. How important is sustainability and ethical practices in Saudi fashion industry? And what initiatives are being taken to promote this responsibility other than Abadia?
I think, this is such an interesting topic. And I think in general, it's been such an interesting topic globally. We've seen, a lot of different fashion weeks, like Copenhagen. One of their most important elements is sustainability. And I think they created that initiative within all of their brands. But I think when it comes to local brands, it's not the easiest thing to do in general. And I think because they have a lot of components that they're considering, that sustainability sometimes is not
a step that you'll take right now.
Exactly. Not something that they can take in the beginning. I definitely, would recommend, like Abadia did, is from the beginning, because when you have these things integrated in your DNA, it's then easy for you to grow from that. But if you grow and then you have to go back 10 steps and integrate that, it's a bit more difficult, in my opinion. But I think with one of the biggest initiatives that I can think of is the swap shop. So basically, it was led by the Fashion Commission, and basically they had with Tsunomi, in partnership with Tsunomi, and they had basically an area where you can bring in your old clothing and you can swap it with a token. You can swap it for new pieces. So that was a really cool initiative to drive, sustainability and kind of just.
Do they still do that?
It's pop-ups. So they did one in Jeddah, they did one in Riyadh, and I think it's an ongoing initiative that they'll keep doing. But it's such an interesting concept, and I think in general, those are the two biggest things that I can think of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Leenah, thank you so much for all your answers. Yani, you gave me on-point answers. Check. Thank you so much. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for your expertise. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.